Okay, here we're today showing you some of our LS motors we're doing, and it's unbelievable now how many all of a sudden blown motors we're doing. This is the LSA Cadillac motor. Notice it's got the self-contained reservoir. I didn't realize till I had to make a crank cover for it the other day. It's got an 8-inch balancer on, a lot bigger than the normal LS's. And this going to 69 Camaro, so we did it with a self-contained reservoir. Notice we're running a smaller alternator pulley now, which speeds up the alternator and gives us a lot more amps with that 140 amp at idle. This is our typical compressor with a rear exit housing on it. Makes a real clean setup. Plus we're doing the headers with the V clamps, and then this is your coolant temp sensor where you'd put your gauge. And notice how the LSA fuel line comes out. That's the fuel line kit we do for the LSA. Plus the oil pressure sending unit has an adapter that we make to put in there, because on the late model motors you've got to run the factory oil pressure, where on the early ones the oil pressure unit's not used on the newer ones. So this is going to make a really nice package, just going in a 69 Camaro with a TCI front clip, I believe. And then that's Kelly Wright's motor we're doing. He's going to pick it up today. This is Robert Burns LS3. Notice how he wanted the coils mounted up there, so we got a new coil rack that we're making now that gives you can mount the coils remote or mount them like he does. And his going in a 57 Chevy, so we did it with the headers also for the 55, 57 Chevy. Notice that we've had to do the belt different, because with the newer LS3s and 7s, the water pump top outlets on the driver's side. Notice how we hooked the steam line right into the water pump. We have the little steam line stainless steel kit. If you want, you can do it with a rubber hose, but it just makes it a little bit cleaner. This really makes a nice package. And this is our new water pump cover we're doing for the blower motors, because the regular cover won't work. We have to route the belt. Notice here we had to run over the top of the idler in order to clear the water neck on the newer motors with a top outlet on the driver's side. This has an 8-rib kit on it, which uses a ATI dampener. So this is a new cover we just started making for the ATI dampener. Plus, you notice the blower, instead of putting a normal pulley on, we actually made that 8-rib pulley in order to let this, because when you start making as much horsepower as these motors, then you've got to have 8-rib to keep from having belt slippage when you run on everything. And then the next to it here, Alex's motor from Russia. This is the LSX. This motor's going to Russia, going in a 34 Chevy. See how, and then it's actually running all with the bug scoop injection. And we've dynoed this motor, dynoed 950, and we've changed the pulley sizes to get it down around 750. North in a 34 Chevy, where you don't have so much power where it's not drivable. Notice on the with a 871, we had to hand make the sheet metal intake. Then it's all handmade and welded up. Took a couple tries to get that done. Plus we did the coils on top on this one. He's not sure whether they're going to mount a remote or not yet, but we even made the covers for the front of the pulleys to match. I got to make one for the water pump yet. And this is our street rod kit that uses the air on it on belt, and it incorporates a 140 amp alternator and a self-contained reservoir. Really going to be a heck of a package in a 34 Chevy. And then with it, we're using the V-clamp 3-inch collectors on it too. Then the motor next to it, here's an LS7 with a Magnuson blower, and we're waiting on the ATI dampener 8-rib for it. Notice it's got the 8-rib pulley we made for the blower drive. Plus, since it's going in a Camaro, we actually shorten the snout up, which gets the throttle body back closer to the blower itself. And so this is going to make a heck of a package. Probably going to make around 800 horse in a, and this is going in a 69 Camaro too. Real popular. We just got back from the SEMA show, and look what we got here. This is the new LT1 Corvette motor, and we were the only one at the show had one running and all tricked out. You can see it uses headers are totally changed, the whole top intake's changed, and it also, we had to redesign all the brackets for it. Plus there was no grooves on the front part of the bouncer, so we make this cover that slips completely over the bouncer, gives us another set of grooves, because with the late model LT1 Corvettes and the trucks, they run electric power steering. So we were able to put our self-contained reservoir on it. Plus we make this little 180-degree stainless bin, which lets the hose drop around the backside, which makes a lot neater package. And then we're doing all the stainless fuel lines. This is even one all about it. You can see it, the dipstick and the oil fill has been moved to the driver's side, but we do the harness for it. We've already run this motor. We're going to get it on dyno next. And if you go on the web right now, you can click on www.hotrodlane.cc, and you can pull up and click on the picture of this motor, and it shows step by step putting the whole motor together. So as we get this on the dyno, we'll try to get you some more facts and figures, and that's the new motor of the future. It's going to replace the LS3.